Another feature that we are going to be using many times is the map method, which initially is very similar to the for each one, where we are going to create a loop and interact with each one of the elements inside the array. The main difference is that the map method will return a new array, while the for each doesn't return anything. Let's take a look into that. So here we have that example where we have an array and we have a for each that goes through each one of the elements and log here. Let's say I want to get what is the result that I'm getting from this for each, and then I just want to log this result right at the end. If I save this code, I'm going to get undefined because I don't have anything being returned by this for each method. I just have my array. So let's include here at the beginning console log my array of fruits that I have initially, and let's just log the array fruit. And now let's change, instead of using for each, let's change to use map. If I save, you can see that we are getting this. So for fruits, I have an array of 3 elements, and then I go through each one of the elements, and as a result, I have an array also of 3 elements. That's because I have 3 elements initially. My map is going to go through each one of them, and the result is going to be an array of the exactly same size. However, if I expand here, you can see that each one of the elements here is undefined. That's because the map will create an array with whatever we return from this callback function. And we are not returning anything, we are just logging this information. So let's say I want to return anything. Let's say return OK. If I save, you can see that I have an array of 3 elements with the word OK for each one of them. That's because I am returning the string OK, but usually I am expected to use the value that I'm receiving. So let me do something like getting the fruit. Since this is a string, I can use uppercase and just return like this. I have the exactly same array with the exactly same size, but now I have the values on the uppercase. So that's the idea of map. I'm going to interact through all the elements, and then as a result, I'm going to get back a new array of the same size with new elements that I return from this callback function. I don't need to log this information here. I could get rid of that. So if I save, I get the same thing, so my initial array and my final one. And now we have that scenario we have discussed before for arrow functions. I have an arrow function where it's only returning something. There is no other line of code inside my block except for the return statement. In this case, we have seen that instead of using the curly braces and the return statement, I could get rid of the curly braces and I could get rid of the return statement. In this case, I also don't need the semicolon at the end. If I save, the result is exactly the same. Here I could choose to use parentheses if I want just to break this into multiple lines. This is one way of writing this type of code. Or I could get rid of those as well and just write everything to one single line. The final result is still the same. Again, as I mentioned before, I could choose to break this into multiple lines, or I could include all of that into a single line, and this would be my final map. I have a map where I create an arrow function that will receive each one of the items, and it will return the item on the uppercase. This is what map does. It will interact through each one of the elements, and at the end, I'm going to have an array of the same size with whatever value we return from the map method.